Welcome to Raising Nashville. I'm Bucky.
Juicebox.
And we have made it to December.
God damn it. I can't believe it.
It seems like in the time when the year should have crawled by, to me it's kind of sped up a little bit in some ways, and now we are smack dab into the season.
Yeah, it felt like it was going slow, like that March, April, May time period. That was like kind of dragging by, and then it just ramped up, and I don't know what happened.
It did. And while, 1 year ago from right now, you would be getting prepared to go to friends' Christmas parties, company parties, like all of this stuff that happens in December, and we have made it to December. This year feels a little bit different, and it's partially the reason that Juicebox and I are sitting inside on a Saturday night about to review a movie that Netflix tells us is a Christmas smash.
Yeah, it's not number one trending on Netflix, but it is in the top 10 right now. But who knows, as it gets closer to Christmas, we'll see what happens.
So this week we are going to review it seems like once a year, Netflix Christmas hit movie, and this year they have brought to us the sequel to the 2018 apparent smash hit, Christmas Chronicles.
Is it? I guess it's a smash hit if it's on Netflix. Like, they can just make up the numbers. Like,
That's it. If you've made it to Netflix, you're automatically a smash hit.
Yeah, I guess that's true. I was trying to look up some, I know there's no box office numbers for it, obviously, but I was trying to find any type of budget or anything for either this one or the first one,
Sure.
And I couldn't find any numbers. It's just all that shit is such a mystery.
But it is readily accessible. Most everybody out there has Netflix, and each year they tend to drop a holiday classic, and it's basically a new take on the same old tales we've heard over and over and over again. We did think last year when we did review the movie Noel, starring Anna Kendrick. When we did review the movie Noel starring I did it again. Anna Kendrick's.
That's still not right, but
we were pleasantly surprised at what Netflix brought us last year. And I remember you saying that you saw Christmas Chronicles 1 the year prior to it, and Noel kind of blew it out of the water.
Well, let me correct you real quick that Noel is a Disney Plus movie, not a Netflix movie.
Okay, well, I'm getting my streaming services confused.
You're right. It all blends together. But yes, I think Noel was much better than the first Christmas Chronicle. That's just my opinion.
Sure.
We'll talk about this movie and we can, we'll weigh in on it.
So most of you have probably seen it. If you are getting in the Christmas spirit at home by yourselves.
You think most of people have seen this movie?
They have. If you're putting up the decorations, if you are sad that you cannot go to one of your friends' houses for a themed holiday party, or you can't go to one of your work things that you dread but you end up having fun at, or, you just can't go outside. You want to get in the Christmas mood, especially on a podcast like ours where we do have children. You want to throw on some cartoon Christmas movies, occasionally watch something live action, and we decided to do Christmas Chronicles 2, so we're going to review that for you today.
Yeah. Heavy spoilers, but honestly, if you watch the trailer, you know what this movie is, probably.
Exactly.
There's no surprises.
Let me preface this by saying I have never seen Christmas Chronicles 1. I did watch the trailer about 7 times, and I can tell you exactly what happened in that flick.
Yeah, it wasn't, I did not like it. I won't say I dislike Christmas movies, but I'm not the biggest Christmas movie person, but This one was just below all. It was down there.
Chronicles 1 or 2?
Chronicles 1.
Okay.
I'm not going to... We'll talk about
Please
2.
don't spoil your thoughts on 2 yet. I did waste a almost entire Saturday afternoon watching this movie, but I did that so that if you haven't seen it, maybe we're going to give you a little bit of taste on whether you should or whether you trust our opinions.
I'm going to go ahead and say you probably shouldn't watch it.
Who knows? But if you have Netflix, you have probably seen the trailer or at least the first 30 seconds because it kind of pops up. Yeah. Obviously, Kurt Russell plays Santa Claus, reprising his role from, again, the first Christmas Chronicles.
Yep.
His wife, surprising to me, right off the bat, Goldie Hawn. I'm like, okay. I mean, this was easy.
Yeah.
You had to have seen this coming. If you didn't, I mean,
well, she was actually like at the very end of the first movie. Like it spoiled that she was Mrs. Claus. Like, so
gotcha.
It was like leading into that. You knew in the second movie she was going to be in.
They were going to allow her to spread her wings as an actress.
Yeah,
she still got it. By the way, I have to say that.
No, I will agree. I want to talk about that real quick. No matter what your opinion of this movie is, Kurt Russell and fucking Goldie Hawn kill it.
Yes,
they both kill it. Kurt Russell was older. Kurt Russell. I don't even know if he's wearing a like beard or wig or anything. Like
sure.
It could be his own hair and beard. Like because he is just perfect for this fucking role.
I have to agree. I think I was thinking about this afternoon after I watched the film, and I'm trying to think of the Santa Clauses throughout the years, right? I'm thinking of like the Tim Allens and the things like that, and they were popular at the time, and that's why they kind of got inserted as Santa Claus.
Right.
When I saw this and it opened, and I within 2 minutes of Kurt Russell talking, I'm like, damn, he's Santa Claus. Like he is the kind of smart ass Uncle Santa Claus.
Yeah. No matter how terrible this movie is, he's killing it.
He really is. I do have a theory on Kurt Russell in this movie because I'm a big Quentin Tarantino fan, as I think Juicebox is, and a couple of our friends out there. And I think that this is the exact same role that he plays in The Hateful Eight, except jollier and more Santa-like related. Okay. So I think that Santa Claus, Kurt Russell's Santa Claus, is like the brother of the guy from The Hateful Eight, and this is like the nice brother, and he's like, The Hateful Eight's like kind of the bad brother. Are you familiar with Saved by the Bell? Do you remember when they introduced Richie Belding, like, Richard Belding's cool brother?
No.
You don't remember that?
I don't.
All right.
The principal?
Yes.
The principal had a cool brother?
He had a cool brother.
No.
And yeah, I see kind of a correlation, but I just think that this is the brother of Kurt Russell in The Hateful Eight. Same dirty outfit, like big overcoat, huge throw, like fur throw, same hair,
right? Same
beard, same kind of dialect, like same.
I'm not actually sure where you're going with this.
Are you not following?
I mean, the Kurt Russell Santa Claus says he's like over 1,700 years old, so like. Is the dude?
Well, no. This isn't like a universe right now.
Oh, okay. I thought you were saying this is like shared universe. Okay.
This is not a universe. We're not marveling it right now.
Because if we are talking about shared universe, they are showing the movie Elf at the movie theater at the North Pole. So it's like, that movie exists.
They also show the movie Bad Santa. I don't know if you saw that. Either in the background.
No.
Yes, when the elves go bad. Their Bad Santa is on that marquee. I did notice that. All right, let's keep going through the people who are in this film. I've got next written down the bad guy or the heavy in this movie is the kid from Deadpool 2 that has the powers and he doesn't know how to control them.
Right. I was like, this is just the same characters from Deadpool 2, but the PG-13 version of that character without superpowers.
I also have a theory that the kid from Deadpool 2 is modeled after the fat kid in Run Ronnie Run, in that one scene like where he gets in a fight with his dad who's trying to stop Ron.
I don't have anything to I can't debate that theory.
Tyrese is also in this movie.
Okay, so I wrote down Tyrese. Hell fucking yeah, Tyrese is in this movie. This movie is Look It Up. And then turns out Tyrese is in the movie for 5 fucking total minutes, the whole entire fucking movie.
He's got maybe 7 lines, and he gets to sing a song with 3 other people at the end.
Oh, I don't even want to talk about that shit.
And he, in this movie, is hitting on or trying to date or is dating Brad Paisley's wife, who is also, if you don't know that little thing right there, she is the main actress in Father of the Bride.
Yeah.
The Steve Martin movies.
Right. That's Brad Paisley's wife?
That's been Brad Paisley's wife for like 25 years.
Cool. So, anyway, like, this movie is so ridiculous. It's so fucking stupid. Like, the premise is, like, They're at this hotel. This girl is mad that they're in Mexico, in Cancun, like on a beach on Christmas. And she's looking at Instagram, and she's getting mad looking at Instagram. I'm like, this is the most true thing in this movie, is just like portraying how Instagram like makes people mad for no reason.
She's what, 10 years old?
She's 13.
13. Okay.
So anyway, she gets all mad. She wishes that she wasn't there. She wishes to Santa Claus, which, you know, if you see the first movie, she has the true belief in Santa, blah, blah, blah.
And her in the first movie, her and her brother kind of like home alone their house to trap Santa, right?
Yeah.
And then snuck in a sleigh and screwed a bunch of stuff up.
Yeah. So that's another thing, too. Like, this chick, basically, this one fucking spoiled-ass chick ends up almost ruining Christmas 2 separate fucking times.
That's very true.
Single-handedly almost ruining Christmas 2 times.
How can you sit in Cancun drinking a cocktail drink and complain about how you're in Cancun for Christmas when last Christmas you were with Santa?
Yeah.
Like, nobody gets to do that.
Well, that was 2 Christmas prior.
2 Christmases ago. You were with Santa. Like, you have no right to complain at this point.
Yeah.
Enjoy your Mai Tai, virgin Mai Tai, and look at the ocean.
I mean, that was it. She was just looking at fucking Instagram and getting mad because her friends were at like Christmas parties and she was in Cancun, and that was it. So her whole plan was she was just going to go to the airport and change her flight and fly back home.
Yep.
So that's the other thing I wrote down. I was like, so they're like, I don't know. I don't know how. I don't know how deep we want to get into this, honestly, because it's so fucking dumb.
And at the same time, apparently, there's all these wormholes that you can just fly through time and space, and like it's a.
Well, that's kind of in the first one too. Like, that's how Santa warps around as he goes through wormholes and like warps to different cities or whatever.
So early on in this film, we find out somebody's chasing Santa through these wormholes, or has made it through one. His name is Belschnickel, which kind of got old the more they said it. They could have they waited till the last time they addressed Belschnickel to abbreviate his name, and I'm pretty sure Kurt Russell goes, "It's okay, Bell," and like just completely abbreviated it the last time of the whole movie.
So I was so confused about this because, like, I don't know if I heard about it from The Office first or if I knew about it beforehand, but Belschnickel is like a German, like, kind of like Santa type person. You know, it was like, you know, it's not a fucking elf at the North Pole. Like, it has its own lore. So I like looked it up because I couldn't remember if it was like just from The Office or if I could, or if it was something else. So real quick, this is from Wikipedia. I just want to read you like their definition of who Belschnickel is.
Okay.
Belschnickel is a man wearing furs and sometimes a mask with a long tongue. He is typically very ragged and disheveled. He wears torn, tattered, and dirty clothes. He carries a switch in his hand with which to beat naughty children, but also pockets full of cakes, candles, and nuts for good children.
So yes, I'm having flashbacks of The Office. So you're saying they casted this perfectly then?
I guess.
The kid from Deadpool 2?
Yeah. I mean, they didn't go with the whole tattered clothing and stuff, though.
No,
you know?
Yeah.
And let me just say, like, when the kid from Deadpool 2 turned into the elf, that elf was the creepiest looking fucking elf, like, on the planet.
Emo elf. Didn't even look like the other elves.
No,
like, I looked around and I'm like, they're all wearing green and red, and this kid's wearing a vest, like a black leather vest.
Well, beyond that, just the way they tried to make his face look like his real face, like when he was a person. Like, that shit was just so fucking creepy, man.
That is true. So, anyway, I mean, the premise of the film is this Belschnickel guy is an elf who used to work for Santa, and then he, you know, something happened. He got trapped in a human body. He got banished to the South Pole. He's trying to make the South Pole the North Pole, take over Christmas, blah, 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 right? He's got a sled made out of like an old junk car, and they're pulled by, I had to write this down, jackaloads. It's a jackalope and coyote mix. It just looked like a laughing hyena.
A jackal and a coyote.
Oh, a jackal. It makes so much more sense now. Anyway, so Belschnickel is trying to take over. Obviously, Santa's got some duties to do. He's got to get prepared for Christmas, and then, you know, some things happen. Santa Santa gets duped by Belsnickel, gets pulled in a wormhole.
Yeah.
Belsnickel unleashes a bunch of blue dust throughout the elf community of the North Pole. This dust basically is the ingredients of water, eating after midnight, and bright lights, and turns them all into gremlins.
Yeah. No, that is one thing I read that they possibly mirrored, because I believe this movie was directed by Chris Columbus.
Yes.
Which we can talk about some more here in a minute.
I want to.
But I'm pretty sure he wrote Gremlins, the first one, or maybe did the screenplay or something for it. He had some hand in creating Gremlins. So it's there's a parallel there,
Gotcha. I mean, they turned into evil elves, and I didn't like it. I like the happy elves. I'm a Christmas happy guy. I'll give any Christmas movie a chance, but don't make it dark.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, I guess there's got to be something to overcome.
Yeah. I mean, there's always something like that's got to happen. But can we talk about the elves? They look like shit. I feel like the computer, the CG in this movie was terrible.
That was my children's favorite part, were the elves.
I'm sure, but I'm just saying, watching it just from an adult person standpoint,
sure.
It was terrible, and it took me out of it. Sometimes it was just some parts of the movie with the elves were just total animation. It wasn't even they were trying to pump them into a background. It was just here's this whole other cutscene of elves in an animated thing. It was just wasn't even trying to be realistic.
I even wrote during the opening, the first thing that pops up on the screen, and it's this camera that flies through the North Pole area, and I said, is this an animated film? Because I've never seen the first one. I knew
right.
Maybe it's a whole animated film, and just Kurt Russell is the human, kind of like Brad Pitt in Cool World or something.
That would have been interesting.
Yeah, but it wasn't, and they mixed this, I don't know, the CGI and the reality. I thought it was mixed really well. It was just over the top. It's an over the top Christmas thing. Not at the end. Definitely not at the end when they get back to Jamaica or wherever they are. I have an issue with that.
Yeah, I think all the elves look pretty terrible. But.
Sure. Then let's get into Chris Columbus, because I want to bring that up to kind of preface the next thing that I've got to harp on about this movie. Although I did kind of enjoy it. I'm not going to lie.
I just thought it was so boring, man. It was just so incredibly boring. I mean, this was a 2-hour-long movie.
It was 2 hours.
I mean, maybe 150, because the credits were I guess, super long, but...
Chris Columbus, for those of you who don't know, has directed some pretty major films in the lives of anyone from the ages of 30 to 50, I'd say.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a pretty wide range there.
Mm-hmm.
Broke out on the scene. First film he ever directed was Adventures in Babysitting, which
one of your favorites.
One of my favorite movies ever, hands down. It defines the 80s. It defines growing up in that age and that era. Mm-hmm. When else would you go to a tow truck guy's house and all this random stuff in the middle of the night in the station wagon with your babysitter? That just doesn't happen, right?
Right.
Other things, do you have written down what he's directed? Because, I mean, there's some pretty big ones. I want to stay away from the obvious one here, but...
Oh, you want to stay away from an obvious one?
The obvious one. That
Mrs.
draws
Doubtfire?
It draws a parallel here. He did do Mrs. Doubtfire. I mean, that's a huge one, too.
9 months.
9 months is a good one. He did Stepmom, which I'm pretty sure is a film that was you got the free DVD of when you got your first ever DVD player back then, when they were giving away a couple, you got Stargate and Stepmom and maybe one other DVD. Bicentennial Man, did you see that?
I don't think that I did. Is it Robin Williams is in that movie?
I think so, from what I remember. He did Heartbreak Hotel in 1988. That was his second film after Adventures in Babysitting, and I really loved that movie. My mom had a bootleg VHS of it when we were growing up, and I often enjoyed it. Anyway, what brings us to this guy Chris Columbus is because he directed one of the most famous ever Christmas movies, which is Home Alone. And he also directed Home Alone 2, Lost in New York.
Yep.
The reason I bring that up is because there is a very specific scene in Christmas Chronicles 2 that I have to get into. And it is from the beginning to end of when Santa and the girl, and I think the little kid, fall through the wormhole to the year 1990.
Yeah.
Like, Belsnickel sends this time-traveling, I don't know, attachment to Santa's sleigh, opens a wormhole, drops him in 1990 at a Boston airport. And Santa specifically says, Kurt Russell, sorry, nobody has Christmas spirit at an airport on Christmas. We're down to 7%. The reindeer aren't going to fly. We've got to go save Christmas by turning everybody's spirits around in this Boston airport in 1990.
Right. Very specific.
So I didn't know who directed this movie before, but after watching that scene, I had to look it up because there are so many similarities to Home Alone Airport.
Yeah.
When Kevin's mom is trying to get back to him.
Dude.
I mean, it was uncanny.
Yeah, that did. The lady that's at the counter is doing her best Catherine O'Hare impression.
Even from the girl across the counter that works for the airline with the hair.
Yeah.
And it came down to literally the band on the floor, like when she pans and there's a band sitting on the floor just like John Candy and his band, and like everything was the exact same. And I was like, is this what the airport looked like in Home Alone? Like, should I go back and look at it just to see if he's actually using the same airport as well? Oh, and then I have, the airport song, obviously a big staple in this movie. I just wrote WTF. Flights canceled on Christmas Eve. Nobody can get home to their parents, but this sing-along will completely change everything.
And it did. That's the thing about this movie. This movie was so fucking predictable, like from beginning to end. Like that, everything that happened, it was just like you knew it was going to happen like 10 minutes before. Like when they landed and she meets that one kid and he's like talking about Christmas spirit, it's like, oh, that's going to be her dad. And 10 minutes later, you realize they find out it's their dad.
So here's my favorite part is because I didn't know this either. Apparently her dad's dead, right?
Oh yeah.
So her dad's dead and her mom's getting with Tyrese and they're at this airport in 1990 and she's talking to this kid who's the same age as her and turns out it's her dad.
Yep.
And when it ends, Santa has to leave. He found what he was looking for. She got the AAA batteries. The other kid did something else. And it's like, all right, Santa's like, we got to go save Christmas. And she gives her dad a hug, like who's the same age, and just holds on to him tight. All right, let me tell you something. I was like, you met your dad in 1990 at an airport, but didn't tell him how or when he dies. Like, you knew that information. You could have at least given it up. Like, hey, I love you. I got to tell you something, though. You're going to die in 2016, and you need to stay off that interstate or something like that.
Okay. So let me play on top of that theory a little bit.
Sure.
Because I wrote down, so this time travel thing had to have happened before. Like, it had to have happened over and over again because, like, this kid seeing her dad seeing Santa at the airport is what gave him the pure on, like, Christmas belief or whatever.
Yes.
That he passed down on to her, which, like, in turn, she would never, if she never would have had the Christmas belief, she would never would have met Santa the first time. She never would have wished for this the second time. She never would have gotten to these shenanigans where they time traveled back to where he could meet Santa, or, like, they could have an interaction with him. So it's like this time loop that keeps going on. So maybe the end of the time loop, it would be her telling her dad, hey, this is when you die. And then it changes it because then they don't have the Christmas belief or fuck, I don't know. I can't. This is spiraled out of control.
Or
let me take another drink of this Mixed Greens. This is like.
But is it like Back to the Future where anything can alter, like, reality moving forward? So her stepping into her dad's life automatically changes that.
But that was the other thing too. Is like, I think like
what if she came back and she was walking on the beach with, Tyrese and her, mom and brother, and then all of a sudden she looks to the right and her dad's walking down the beach, because she would have met him. That would have been weird.
Yeah. So here's the other thing for my theory. the dad in the first movie, the dad like shot a lot of videos. Like he always had a video camera and shot a lot of videos. So like that kid says after he meets Santa and doesn't have a video camera, he says, I'm going to carry a video camera from now on.
I knew that had to do with something, even not seeing the first movie. I knew it. It was just perfectly placed line.
It's just like a time loop. It has to happen. This shit has to happen over and over again.
Yep. So, meanwhile, at the North Pole, Mrs. Claus is trying to fight off a bunch of gremlin elves with the kid, Tyrese's son, in the movie, and
who is like a slightly tougher Steve Urkel.
Kinda. I mean, I would give you that. So, insert the biggest product placement in this entire film, and probably going to spark a couple of sales for the Nerf company, because he goes on a tirade shooting elves with a Nerf gun.
Was it like an official Nerf gun?
It was not. It was like those knockoffs that I have in my basement for my kids.
Yeah.
They shoot harder, they hurt, and they could probably put out an eye, but they are awesome. But he comes out just like drilling elves, and it doesn't even, like, he's not even hitting them that hard. I mean, the bullets aren't going that fast.
No, they're not. He shoots one of them right in the mouth or whatever with it. Like, and he's shooting them left and right. But later on, he's like super far away from that drone, and he shoots down a drone with the Nerf gun.
Oh yeah,
and it's like so far away. It's like, okay, that dart that he shot earlier would have taken that elf's head clean off. Like,
yeah. I guess we missed the whole premise of the movie, kind of. But I said this movie is entirely about the star on top of your Christmas tree, which for years I have been adamantly against, and my wife is seriously for. Mm-hmm. And we've gotten in arguments about this in the past. I don't like those light up ones because you have to run a separate electric cord up through the tree to plug that in too, and it's just annoying, and they're all heavy and they fall over and they're never standing up straight or anything. So she goes out and buys one this year. We've got it stands up straight. As soon as I watch this whole movie, I'm like, no, like I hate it. I hate it. And this Christmas star that's on top of the Christmas tree at the North Pole is powered by the light of Jerusalem. Like,
yeah, dude, that shit got a little weird. Oh man. Yeah.
And that light comes beaming down like that beam that blew into the White House in Independence Day.
So let me ask you this. Let me get a little conspiratorial on you. So they go to that like forest in Turkey, like Turkey.
Yep.
I'm not sure what the meaning, but maybe there's some meaning behind that. I'm not really sure. To meet the wood elves, they don't believe it's Santa. He freezes this one elf, like the most adamant elf that like doesn't believe he's Santa. He freezes him, like frozen. Goes about his business, like, you know, all the elves believe it's him, blah, blah, blah. They get the light of Jerusalem. He comes back, unfreezes that elf, and he's like, I still don't believe it's Santa. That's not real. And I was like, is this like a fucking COVID like metaphor right here? Like, this is like the people that fucking get COVID and like still don't believe in the shit or something?
That's a theory.
What I'm starting to learn is like watching this movie by yourself really just like makes your brain go into like a lot different directions.
Sure.
Just a Christmas
you have
movie.
A lot of time to think because all Christmas movies are just kind of dumb unless it's a Wonderful Life or that's it.
Yeah. Like you got to make up your own side story.
Anyway, so they get the
I feel like you're just humoring me.
No,
this is like when you're like, oh yeah, when you're talking to your kid, and you're like, yeah, I'm sure that happened.
They get the Christmas star back. All is well in the North Pole. Everything goes back to normal. Santa delivers presents on time. And we're left with Bell Schnickel, still as a human, confronted by Santa and Goldie Hawn. Anyway, so all he wants to be is an elf. Guess what? He gets his wish. He turns into an elf. We've talked about it. He's
super creepy looking.
The
creepiest looking elf.
Yeah, he looks like the kid from Deadpool 2 as an elf. I guess they had to make him look like that. I don't know. Because we had never seen him as an elf before.
None of the other elves like had human, like that type of humanistic features. That's what made it so creepy. It didn't look like any of the other elves.
Speaking of creepy, the very end of this movie is probably the biggest part, is when the kids are back in Jamaica or Bermuda or wherever they are. They get sent off by Santa. They ride their little, what do you call those things? Parachutes down to the beach. They see the brother's like, oh man, you got to see Santa again. Cool. Let's go. They're looking for us. And they go over there, and then all of a sudden they hold hands as a family and walk out to the beach alone and sing "Oh Christmas Tree" at like the top of their lungs.
Dude, that was like, for me, that was one of those moments when you like start to feel embarrassed for the people on TV, and it makes you feel very awkward. And then it just like, it kept going, and I just stopped the movie. Like I didn't watch it to the end of that. I saw that it was like going on for another at least minute and a half. I was like, I can't do it. I can't fucking sit through this.
That wasn't Tyrese's voice. There is no way.
That was none of their voice. Like, for me, it killed it. Yeah, when Tyrese came in, and then the chick came in, and it was like the super odd. Brad Paisley's wife came in, and then it was like the super auto-tune type voice almost. And then her son came in, Harry Styles or whatever you called him, came in. And it was just like, no.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's how it ended, just with a fizzle.
All right, so now that we've gotten through that, I mean, here's my opinion. It was good. When I watched it with my children, as opposed to, yes, I watched this twice instead of watching Christmas Chronicles 1 and then Christmas Chronicles 2. I just watched 2 twice. Watching it by yourself, I wouldn't recommend that. Watching it with your children or family, sure. Like if you're with your grandmother or your aunt and you're, afraid that there's going to be cuss words in this movie, this is a perfect one to put on. Like, when you're not trying to see nudity with your family because you're in the holidays and you accidentally put on The Rock and realize that Nick Cage is like banging a girl in the first couple scenes. Yeah. You don't want to run into something like that. Put this movie on.
Right.
But I have to say, I enjoyed it, right? I am inundated with nothing but cartoons in my house. I have a 10-year-old and I have a 3-year-old, and all we watch is cartoons, everything. But cartoon Christmas movies, now it's something new. But I watched a live-action movie as a Christmas thing. I didn't mind it. It wasn't necessarily, it was nails on the chalkboard during some parts, but the whole movie as a whole, sure, I'm never going to watch it again. Please don't make Christmas Chronicles 3, so I have to watch that. Chris Columbus, you still got something in you, man. Come on, bring it back. Bring back that old Babysitters. Bring back that old Home Alone. Bring back that old, was that it? Like Stepmom?
It did.
He did Pixels.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, he did the Harry Potter movies, which people, a few of those, which people liked. I mean, he's done in some bigger movies, but yeah, recently, nothing much.
Oh, he did those like Percy Sledge movies, right? No, Percy Jackson. That was Percy Sledge. Yeah, I didn't watch those either.
Yeah, I would not recommend for people to watch this movie. I don't think it was that good. I think there's better Christmas movies. I would honestly rather watch Noel again than watch this movie.
That's it. If you have Disney Plus or still within that year allotment of Verizon Wireless where they give it to you for free for a year, click on Disney Plus and watch Noel. I'm probably going to watch it this season just to remind myself because I did like that one. But there are tons. I mean, come on. There's tons of Christmas movies out there. If we could recommend one from Raising Nashville podcast, it would probably be Silent Night, Deadly Night. You're probably going to have to get on the streaming service Shudder to find that. But it is an enjoyable one this time of year.
Yeah, that's a classic. If you're looking for one that's more family oriented, we just watched that Grinch that came out like a couple years ago where Benedict Cumberbatch plays the Grinch, but it's like an
still animated.
Yeah.
It's great.
Dude, it was really good.
The movie's great.
Yeah. I did not even really realize that existed until we were just like searching around for, Christmas movies.
Where he gets invited to the house at dinner at the end.
Yeah.
Like, yes, that movie's awesome.
One thing real quick, back to this movie. It like when I think back to Noel, like there was that one scene that just like was the tearjerker scene, when she's like talking to the little kid. And I remember we were talking about got all of us, There was not a scene like that in this movie.
No tearjerkers.
I mean, this girl's dad died. The other, like Tyrese's wife had died. So this other kid's mom had died, and there was a couple things where like Mrs. Claus was like, be my hero or be brave for me or whatever she said. I can't remember exactly. And he was like, my mom used to say that. And you could tell like that was one of the things that like they were trying to get a little moment, but it was like this just like the timing was weird. It just was like it didn't hit, you know. I never had any of those moments where I was like, oh.
I mean, it was teed up between her and her 13-year-old dad, like when they were hanging out with each other. It was teed up for a tearjerker there. But
it was, but they telegraphed it like too much, I feel like, or something. It wasn't like, yeah.
Yeah. Well, if you are looking for something to watch this Christmas season and you are scrolling through Netflix and your family says, hey, Dad, or hey, Mom, I want to watch that Christmas Chronicles 2 movie. I know it's not going to be the easiest thing in the world, but what if we told you that we had something for that?
Brown liquor?
You could reach in the shelf for that brown liquor, or you could go to the kitchen and open your drawer and get that nice little blue bottle of Two Tours CBD.
Oh, yeah.
CBD, you can put it on your popcorn. Share it with your family. You can, just drop a couple of things on your tongue as soon as the lights go down and the credits start to roll in the beginning of Christmas Chronicles 2. But CBD will actually help you with anxiety, which is this movie could cause. It will help you with stress, which again this movie could cause. But it will also give you this euphoric feeling that will help you get through that film and get on to the next one. Because maybe the next one will be Christmas Vacation. You can convince your family that.
Yeah, or the alternate is, take some of this, watch it by yourself, develop some crazy theories like I did, and send them to us. I want to hear it.
Yeah, we do.
Let's make this movie more entertaining than it is.
And we have a special offer for you to get this enhancement of Christmas Chronicles 2. It is at twotours.com. You go in there and you type in the special code Raising Nashville for 10% off as well as free shipping. Get you some bottles at twotours.com. CBD today. Also great. They are one of the only companies out there that make sugar, CBD sugar, that you can cook in all your cookies. You can make with all of
Santa's
your food.
Cookies.
Santa could really use some CBD this year. So grab some of that CBD sugar from twotours.com. Two Tours CBD. We came home together. We grow together. Well, I think that's our show. I mean, there's not much more we can say other than, again, Kurt Russell, I commend you. You're always incredible.
That's the thing, man. I don't know what it is about him, man. He's like, he's a solid actor. He's a great looking dude.
Getting better as he gets older.
Yeah, right. And like I said before, like I'm not even sure he had a fake beard or hair. Like that could have just been his own beard and hair. Like,
I do not convince me otherwise, because that's all I want to picture when I think of Kurt Russell now. Mountain man, full circle from The Thing to now. I mean, Kurt Russell has done it all.
Yeah.
So we give you all the praise this week, Kurt. Anyway, we will be back every single Monday this Christmas season.
Yeah.
Who knows what we'll do next, but we always like to get into the holiday spirit. Wherever you are, do the things. Like us, rate us. Don't. I'm going to challenge you not to, because it might help. We're a Raising Nashville podcast. Anywhere you can find us, Instagram, whatever. Wherever you get your podcast. We'll see you guys next week.
See ya.
Well, what we need is, it's real simple. All we need is the spirit of Christmas. Perhaps I should explain a little further. Well, you can look through any window. You see a great, big, beautiful world. There's an exciting adventure waiting for every boy and girl.
But Santa, life can be frustrating and very confusing too.
That's why when you see a bad mood coming, you gotta catch it right from the start. That's when you gotta stop thinking and learn to trust your heart. You need the spirit of Christmas. The spirit of Christmas.
Tell it, Santa.
Yeah, the spirit of Christmas never goes away.